welcome to the part 2 of Stacking the Shelves, where I go through the 3 months of books that I didn't go through since like Thanksgiving. In this second part, first part I cover review books, and that posted last Saturday. In the second part, I'm going to cover books I bought, books I got as gifts for Christmas, and then audiobooks that I either borrowed or bought. We did reinstitute our, well, I guess two things to say about this. We did reinstitute our Audible membership because my husband and son are very into audiobooks as well, and I had been trying to borrow them from the library, and you just don't get a very long time to have the book when you borrow from the library. So it just made more sense to start doing our Audible account again. And then I guess secondly, speaking of the library account, the other thing I did is I was going through like all the books I had on my wish list for the library. Like I had them on there, I wanted to borrow them when they were available, and kind of cross-referencing that with books that were available on Kindle Unlimited or very cheap on Amazon. And so some of the ones that I bought are ones that were like 99 cents or something on Amazon, and I just bought them so that I could read them because some of them have been a hold in the library a very long time, or I just don't want to have to manage, putting in a request and then reading it very quickly once I get access to it in the library. So that's the explanation for that. I have 7 books I bought, 3 books that were gifts, and then 9 audiobooks to go through. So with that, I will get started. My cat is trapped in here with me. He was bothering my son. So he was in the thumbnail photo, and he's kind of just laying back there. And early on, the camera was like wiggling because he was rubbing on my stand. But it's fine. He's laying down now. So hopefully we can get through this without too much cat help. All right. So the first book that I bought was Sisters of the Forsaken Stars, which is the second book in Our Lady of Endless Worlds by Lina Rather. I ended up buying this because I liked the first book and I just really wanted to see how things continued in the series, and I couldn't find the second book anywhere to borrow. I ended up not liking this as much as the first book. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. This is about a group of religious sisters that travels through space and like helps people. Things are changing with like the main center on Earth, and they're trying to be more forceful with their doctrine and less helpful. And the sisters are trying to escape that. So it's kind of an interesting, like a lot of space travel, and they're fighting against these viruses and diseases, and there's some conspiracy going on, as well as some religion. Like some of the sisters are really dedicated to their religion. Some are just having trouble sticking with it. So it was an interesting read, and I'd recommend it if that sounds like an interesting combination to you. Anyways, enough of that. A lot of these are going to get many reviews. Some of them I haven't read, but most of them I have read. All right, the second one I bought is Witch Hat 8 Lear Volume 13. I think it's actually on the bookshelf right back there, so I probably could just like show it. This is a young adult middle grade fantasy manga series about some young witches that are getting training from their master. It's been a really good series. The artwork in this is tremendous, and I really enjoy the characters. It's very much got that kind of cozy fantasy vibe. The last couple volumes have been a little bit more like dangerous. They're a little more scary from like a maybe middle grade point of view, because they are getting attacked by kind of like a big monster thing, and they are fighting that. So still really enjoying those a lot. I just love the characters and their camaraderie, and the magic and the illustration. It's just a very fun read, and I plan to continue reading that series. The third one I bought, and I actually got this free through Kindle First Reads, is The Warbler by Sarah Beth Durst. I am a big fan of Sarah Beth Durst. I pretty much read everything that she publishes. This is about a woman named Elisa who doesn't stay anywhere because she fears like if she puts down roots somewhere, her family curse will actually turn her into a tree. She's getting really tired of going from town to town, and she ends up staying in a small town in she ends up stuck in a small town in Massachusetts where she can't leave. A mysterious magic makes it impossible for people to leave, and she hopes that while she's there, she can change her fate and not turn into a tree. There you see my cat back there. He's checking out the door. The fourth one I bought is Cupcakes, Trinkets, and Other Deadly Magic by Megan Sienna Doge. This is the first book in the Dowser series. There seem to be 3 or 4 series that are kind of interwoven in this universe. This sounded really cute. I wanted to read it. I read it. It was okay. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's about a young woman who owns a bakery who is a dowser. She can like track magic. And when a vampire shows up wanting to talk to her about werewolves that have been being murdered in the area, she ends up in kind of this bigger plot. Okay, we're about to get some more love on the tripod here. I'll just maybe hold him for a while. Yeah, he's helping. See? I think my main issue with this is it was kind of like a cutesy paranormal book. One of those ones where like all the guys are super hot and all the women are super pretty, and you know, there's werewolves and vampires and witchy magic, but it was all like very surfacey. The mystery was very predictable. The characters didn't have a lot of depth to them. So I guess if you're looking for a light, like paranormal read, it'd be okay. Aside from that, my main issue with it was the only one that was available to borrow was the first one, and they're pretty short books. The rest of them I would have had to buy at about $5 a pop, and I think there's 9 books just in this series, and that doesn't include the other 2 offshoot series that interweave with this series. And I just wasn't willing to make that kind of investment given the quality of the book. So there's that. All right, the next 3 that I bought I have not read yet. The first one is The Human Sun by Adrienne J. Walker. This is one that I had marked at the library as wanting to borrow, but was available very cheap on Kindle. This is about a future Earth that has been populated by the genetically engineered Erta, and humans are gone. It's like 500 years in the future. The Erta have reversed climate change, and now they need to decide if they want to reintroduce humans to Earth. They decide to raise a final human child to help them make this decision, and this book is about that child. So that sounded really interesting to me. I've had it on my to-read list for a while. The second book I bought, and this was another one that I had on my library wish list that was available on Amazon for cheaper, is Dreambound by Dan Frey. This is a contemporary fantasy where a father's daughter disappears supposedly into the universe of her favorite fantasy novel. He starts investigating about this because at first he doesn't believe it, and finds out there are dozens of children that have disappeared into this fantasy world, and he's trying to figure out what's going on there. So again, another one that's been on my list for a long time that I wanted to read, and I'm very excited to read that. The last book that I bought, and again, this was another one, I may have borrowed this through, no, I must have bought this, is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. This is an Asian-inspired fantasy about a girl, Mina, who takes the place of her brother's beloved as a sacrifice to the sea god. When she is sacrificed, she's swept into a fantasy realm and finds out that the sea god may actually need her help. It sounds kind of more like a young adult, middle grade, Asian-inspired fantasy. So those are the 7 books that I bought. I did get 3 books as gifts for Christmas. The first one is Lightning in Her Hands by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. This is the second book in the Wild Magic series. These are kind of cozy paranormal novels set in a small town about 3 sisters who have magical powers. This one features the she's the youngest or the middle sister, who has the power to control weather that she has a lot of trouble controlling. She ends up hooking up with like her childhood sweetheart, and they're very romance heavy, but also very fun magic and a lot about family. And I just really love kind of the cozy magical vibe to them. I love the first book. I also love this one. I gave it 5 stars. If you're looking for kind of a cozy paranormal romance and like that small town setting, I would definitely recommend the Wild Magic series. The second book I got as a gift is The Loss of the Burying Ground by J. Anderson Coates. I'm a big fan of J. Anderson Coates. I know a lot of her books get very mixed reviews, but I just really click with her writing style. And this is kind of a historical fantasy about 2 teen girls who are shipwrecked together, and they have to work together to both survive and possibly end this ages-long war. And then the last book I got as a gift is Monstrous Volume 9 by Sana Takeda and Marjorie Liu. This is a epic fantasy graphic novel series, the 9th volume in it. I read this. I really loved it. I absolutely adore the artwork in these graphic novels. And this one actually brings us back to the current reality in the story. They were kind of in like a different realm in the last volume, and it was very confusing. The story in general is somewhat confusing. At some point, I'd like to sit down and like read them all back to back. But this was a more cohesive novel story-wise than some of the previous ones have been. I believe I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but if you are looking for like an epic fantasy graphic novel series, it is very good. All right. Then I had 9 audiobooks that most of these I got from Audible, kind of like borrowed from Audible as part of Audible's catalog. And some of them were ones that like I had been reading the series before I stopped my Audible membership and then came back and finished that up. The first one was The Shadow Rihanna, the first book in the Shadow Sisters series by C.R. Dames. This was a really good book. I liked it a lot. It's about a girl who gets sold off by her family to Shadow Sisters. They're sisters that either specialize in training up girls to be spies or assassins. This girl ends up being like a spy assassin. She's good at both things, and she gets sent out to do a job to spy with this gypsy clan, and she ends up becoming family with the gypsy clan and has to make some decisions about, well, she has to make a lot of decisions on her own because she's in a very dire situation as a spy, but also has to make some decisions about what's important to her, like the sense of family she gets from the gypsies, the sense of accomplishment she gets from being a spy master. It's really well done, and I was really impressed by it. There is a second book that I did not read because I actually really liked where the first book ended. And then I found out that the author actually isn't planning to write any more books because he's in really bad health. And so I just didn't want to get more invested in the series. And I really liked where the first book ended. So there's that one. The second audiobook I got is Travel by Bullet, which is the 3rd book in the Dispatcher series by John Scalzi. This is a very interesting series with kind of confusing sci-fi premise. Like if you are killed at the moment you'll come back at the moment of your death or whatever. So like people, if they're murdered, come back, and because of COVID and stuff, people are using this to like bring their loved ones back even though they're really sick and there's nothing they can do. Anyways, the premise has always confused me a little bit in these. However, they're good mysteries and they're kind of fun. And I think I gave that one 4 stars. I think all the books in the series are getting 4 stars because they're well written, they're fast paced. The premise is just a little confusing sometimes. All right, the 3rd audiobook that I got, I should show you my cat. He's just like, yeah, he's just chilling. Are we chilling? Yeah, he's chilling now. He's cool, just hanging out in my lap. All right, the 3rd audiobook I got is Germination, the 3rd book in the Battle Mage Farmer series, or the 2nd book in the Battle Mage Farmer series by Seth Ring. This is an audiobook series my husband and I started to listen to. I think we got through book 3 and finally stopped getting them because they were really, really, really slow, which is kind of a bummer because I like the idea. They're a lit RPG. The magic in the world is really interesting, how it works. The characters are really well balanced and intriguing. Like there's really nice, good female characters and male characters, and they're all growing a lot throughout the story. But it is so slow. Like I kept falling asleep. Even if I was driving and listening to it, it was putting me to sleep. So it's like a series I wanted to love. And then my husband wanted to keep listening to it, but only the first 3 books were available through Lona Audible, and we were going to have to start paying or using credits for the rest of them. And I believe there's 9 books in the series, and we just were like, yeah, never mind. The 4th audiobook I got is Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a very popular book. It's a kind of retelling about the Greek god Circe. I was kind of disappointed in this given all the hype. Like I finished it. I just found the way Circe was represented to be very, I don't know, she just seemed very complacent and she didn't do a lot through the book. She kind of just like accepted her fate and went with it and made a lot of bad decisions. While I appreciate that there was like this reimagining of this lesser known Greek god, I guess she's not, she's like a half god, like a witch. I just wasn't a huge fan of the characters in the book. They're all kind of assholes, honestly. So yeah, it was okay. It just didn't meet my expectation. I think I actually liked, I think, what was it, Achilles? The other one, I liked that one better. All right, and then the next audiobook I got is The Foxwife by Yingzi Chu. This one's I'm going to get 4 out of 5 stars. It's a historical fantasy, mostly kind of a murder mystery, but the characters in the books are foxes. They can go between human and fox form, so they're like the legendary like nine-tailed fox type of character. I really like that premise. It was very interesting to watch the foxes interact and like wreak havoc with humans' lives. This is kind of set in the, I believe it's like feudal Japan era. And so it's kind of neat to see that time in history and then that folklore mythology around the foxes. But it was a little slow. You go back and forth between 2 different characters. One is the foxwife, like a woman who is a fox. And the second one is an investigator that is like trying to track down the mystery about these disappearing girls, and it goes back and forth between them. It was fine. I think better narration would have made me enjoy it more, but it was a little slow. All right, the next book I got was Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. I'm a big Sarah Addison Allen fan. I really like her Waverly books, and I've read, I think, all her other books as well. I felt like this was one of her weaker books, though. This is about a college-age girl who moves to the small town that her mother used to live in. She rents the condo that her mother grew up in. And she's really, and her mother has died, so she's really kind of looking for more clues about her mother, who was pretty absent in her childhood. And you kind of find out as you read the book that everybody who lives in this unique house and is renting spaces out in it is haunted by different things. And so because it's a Sarah Addison Allen book, this manifests as kind of some elements of magical realism, and it was well done. I really appreciate how everything came together and how the characters would seem very unrelated at the beginning of the book, end up all tied together. But it did take some time to get there. It was a bit slow. All right, the next audiobook I got is This Inevitable Ruin, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 7 by Matt Dinneman. I am listening to this right now. We're maybe about 25% of the way through, and then we went on vacation, and we didn't listen to the audiobook on vacation. So hopefully we'll be going up to Duluth again later this week, and I will get to listen to more of it. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you don't know what that is, it's an awesome lit RPG series that's full of humor and action and a very complicated storyline that doesn't seem complicated at first, but as it goes, it gets more and more complicated, and some just wonderful characters. Talkie Cat, check it out. All right, the next one I got is Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Surya. I think that's how you say that. I don't actually know more. This one has been on my list for a long time, and it was one that was like on my library list, and then I found out that I could get through Audible, so I got it through Audible. It's one that I keep thinking I'm going to take off my wish list, but then I read the synopsis and I think, ooh, that sounds interesting. So I just started listening to this as well. This is kind of the audiobook I'm listening to on my own, so we'll see how I like it. And then the last one I got is The Route of Ice and Salt by Jose Luis Zarate. This was an oddball. It's a kind of a historical fantasy about a ship captain who picks up a cargo from Romania. And when they do that, bad things start happening on the ship. He quickly finds out he has something on the ship that he didn't expect he had. This was interesting. It's written, the first part I thought was kind of slow. You spend a lot of time with the captain fantasizing about the other men on the ship because he really lusts after other men, and that's not acceptable for his time. And then things get kind of creepier and creepier as you go on, and the second half is quite, a lot of bad things start happening to the crew. We'll put it that way. I kind of enjoyed it, kind of didn't enjoy it. I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. There were things I liked about it. Like, I liked the second half of the book. First half I didn't like so much. I was just like, what are we doing here? It is very short. It's only 3 hours. So if you're interested in like this is like kind of the Dracula mythos and stuff like that. It was a good horror, like at sea horror kind of book. So that is what I got. So that was 7 books bought, 3 gifts, 3 books gifted, and 9 audiobooks. So 12, 7. So that's 19 for the second part. I think I had in the first part, I had 17 review books. And then I have a lot of books that I borrowed from the library or from Kindle Unlimited. And that will be my third Stacking the Shelves video, which I hope to post next Saturday. So I still have this purring cat on my lap, which I don't know if you can hear. And I just realized that I did this whole video without my new microphone on. So hopefully the sound is okay. Historically, the sound has not been great when I don't use my microphone, and I can't believe I forgot to use it. But it's probably a good thing I didn't, because I had this on my lap hanging out. He's just like sleeping. He's resting his chin on my arm. So I'll have to give my son a little bit of trouble for leaving me with this. I did a life update in the first Stacking the Shelves video, so if you want to hear about what's going on, go check it out in that one. This one's getting kind of long, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope that you got a lot of great books and that you have a great week of reading, and I will talk to you next Saturday. Bye.